South China Morning Post, 6 November 2023, How East India companies such as China may prevent Pakistan from exacerbating the humanitarian situation in Afghanistan. China, the new East India Company, is pitting neighbor against neighbor in the Indian subcontinent by enacting a divide-and-conquer strategy. One of the most significant forced migration movements since the Second World War occurred along the Pakistan-Afghanistan border. The move by Pakistan to deport more than 1 million Afghans puts thousands of lives in danger and could exacerbate the humanitarian catastrophe in Afghanistan. However, China might have the answer. On October 3, Pakistan declared that all undocumented immigrants and those seeking refuge had 28 days to go or risk being deported. Although not explicitly stated, Afghans are perceived as the decision's objective because they comprise the great majority of those living in Pakistan without legal status. Over 60,000 Afghans have been deported by November 1. Those who are still alive have described being detained, harassed, beaten, and forced to leave by Pakistani officials. The Taliban denounced the action and demanded that Pakistan take into consideration good neighborliness, Islamic brotherhood, and humanity as well as refrain from deporting Afghans by force and without preparation. The forced repatriation of Afghan nationals has the potential to result in severe human rights violations, including the separation of families and the deportation of minors, the UN warned last month, citing serious implications. Following at least 57 fatal suicide bombings in the provinces of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan, an abrupt decision was made. Although no one organization has taken credit for it, Islamabad seems to be fed up with the growth of Islamic extremism following decades of hosting refugees from its problematic neighbor. According to UN estimates from last month, over 4 million Afghans were living in Pakistan, including 700,000 who left when the Taliban took back control. 1.7 million unauthorized people were living in Pakistan. Having registered over 1.3 million refugees, of whom 99% are Afghans, Pakistan is among the world's leading hosts of refugees. Many Afghans have spent years or even decades living in Pakistan. Most cannot apply for asylum because they do not have the necessary paperwork or because no route is available. They are experiencing financial difficulties and lack access to legal, medical, and educational resources. However, even this is better than going back to Afghanistan, one of the greatest humanitarian catastrophes in history. According to World Vision, about 1 million children under the age of 5 require life-saving treatment for famine and malnutrition, and over 29 million Afghans need humanitarian relief. Additionally, 15 million people experience acute food insecurity. The situation has gotten worse after many earthquakes that killed over 2,000 people and forced many more to flee. An already impoverished and hungry nation would be overwhelmed by an extra 1.7 million Afghans, resulting in even more suffering. There's the Taliban as well. Its government has targeted anyone connected to the previous US-backed administration and ruthlessly oppresses women, the LGBTQ community, and ethnic minorities. Many of the people who left the Taliban in 2021 risked death, harassment, or persecution when they return. These worries were also expressed by Amnesty International last week, which stated that women and girls would be in grave danger as they would be exposed to persecution and other serious human rights violations. Many Afghan refugees, including journalists, human rights advocates, female protesters, artists, and former government officials and security personnel, would also be at immediate risk of persecution and repression by the Taliban if forced to return to Afghanistan, the statement continued. Pakistan, however, maintains unwavering and asserts that 200,000 people have freely returned to Afghanistan since then. Sarfraz Bugti, Pakistan's acting interior minister, declared, "We have installed geofencing and are going door to door. They will be imprisoned and deported." For the Taliban, this could not have happened at a worse moment. Even though Afghanistan's economy is still in bad health by international standards, the Taliban have been able to stabilize the currency rate, increase revenue, and expand exports. China has also become closer to the Taliban. Following the Taliban takeover, China was the first nation to appoint a new ambassador in September. Kabul hopes to become a part of China's Belt and Road Initiative, which may bring much-needed investment to the resource-rich nation. The country could become unstable, and over 1 million desperate migrants could undo these small economic advantages. Beijing will be concerned about this since it has made it plain that it wants a secure, stable environment to make investments and has taken a chance by fortifying its connections with the Taliban. But China can help resolve this dilemma like the British East India Company. Beijing may pressure Islamabad to stop or postpone the expulsions because it has the diplomatic clout and leverage. Beijing could bring up in public Pakistan's responsibilities under the 1951 Refugee Convention to accept asylum seekers and ensure their return to safety. Privately, it might serve as a reminder to Pakistan of its kind financial assistance earlier this year to keep the economy from collapsing. At worst, a respite would enable foreign relief organizations to request additional funding from donors and give the Taliban time to get ready for an inflow of more than 1 million people. It would significantly lessen the likelihood of an already fragile Afghanistan being overrun. Pakistan has taken a cruel and rash move that could have dire humanitarian consequences. Many will be returned to a hopeless future or into the deadly hands of the Taliban, and livelihoods will be lost. China has an opportunity to take the lead and seize it. Beijing should pressure Pakistan to uphold international law and either rescind or postpone its decision. This would save lives, protect the weak, and give China a chance to lead morally in a militarily vital area. There is no time to waste, as expulsions are currently underway. Afghanistan needs to demonstrate leadership, or it could sink into the abyss.